I am making a like a tomato spinach pasta, and it's gonna be all done in the microwave. This is, you can do it on the stove too, but this is a super easy recipe. So we have free range chicken. I try to get the most organic, but this is like the store brand organic, which is I guess the next best thing. A thing of chicken broth. This is just a full, like a 2-pound, 32 ounce container. This is 1 pound of chicken. 1 8-ounce of cream cheese. There's supposed to be more tomatoes in here, but my kids and I ate them. So, but yeah, you have tomatoes. You can use cherry tomatoes or grape tomatoes, but the small ones are the better. You can also use yellow tomatoes as well. And however many tomatoes you want. This, I'll definitely use all of these. And then I'm also going to put in a can of tomatoes. This has seasoning on it. It has like diced and sweet onion, roasted garlic, whatever flavors you want. I use more Italian flavors in this. Although one time I accidentally added a can of Mexican flavors and it just gave it a little kick, which it didn't taste horrible. It was just different. And then some baby spinach. I get some that's already pre-washed. You just scoop, you know, put it in there. And then a full box of pasta. And I like to use Rotini in almost all my pastas because it catches the sauce really well. Also, what is really good in this is what's it called? Parmesan cheese, but I don't have any. I forgot it. But you can also put that in here as well. So the next step is to assemble. Okay. Alright, so the first thing that goes in here is not all. We're not putting all of this, all the spinach in there, just a really good handful. You want to basically fill the bowl because it's going to shrivel up to the point where you're going to think, oh my gosh, I didn't put enough in. So don't be worried if you feel like you're putting too much in because you're not. So that's about good for that. And actually, I should have put the tomatoes in first, but it's okay if you don't. So you just put all of them in there. You don't need to cut them or anything like that. You can if you want. I don't, just because I don't feel the need to. And then you can put a little salt and pepper in there if you like, or you can just put it in there as is because you're going to add in other ingredients too. And so the flavors, they'll still build. I've added crushed, pepper and garlic salt. Normally I'll add a whole clove of garlic in here. I'll smash it and I'll add it in there, and I'll also cook with it in my chicken. But I don't think I have any garlic, so but I love garlic. If you're not a garlic person, I mean, it'll taste fine without it as well. Okay, and then you can add your can of tomatoes either before or after you put it in the microwave. But I'm going to add it before, just help it out a little bit, and it's okay if there's a little bit left in there. Then we're going to stir this up, put the lid on, and again, this is a microwavable safe dish, and put it in the microwave for 5 minutes. Alright, so the lid goes on, and put it in the microwave for 5 minutes. Okay, and then while that is doing its thing, we're going to take all this chicken out. You can take as much chicken as you need. This is about, I think, 4 or 5 tenders, so I'll probably end up using the whole thing because it is very good. And then you want your butter. I normally use olive oil, extra virgin olive oil, but I don't have any, so you can use butter. It's fine too. And then you just season both sides of the meat. Melt the butter and put it in there. I'll show you in a second. Also, one thing I forgot to say, the cream cheese you want to leave out. Once you start cooking, just leave it out on the counter so it thaws a little bit. Okay, so here's my meat. I just seasoned it on one side, and then I put it in the pan and seasoned it and just ripped some pieces, like thinly sliced butter and put it over. And it's on a low heat. I'm going to actually lower that right now. So it's on a low heat. And I didn't use that whole stick of butter. I used barely any. And then we're just going to cover it And you're going to leave it in there while you are working, while the pasta is cooking. Real quick, easy trick, I'm sure a lot of people do this already, to help you clean up as you're cooking is the grocery bag. If you use the grocery bag, or if you have any extras just lying around because you decided to switch to the reusable bags, you just put it in there, and then you don't have all this trash running around or having to keep going back and forth to the trash can. Okay, so our tomato and spinach is done. And so remember how full that was? It's gone down a lot. I told you that the spinach would shrink down a lot, and so it doesn't look nearly as much as it was. I know it looks like there's a lot of tomatoes, but we're gonna put in the pasta right now, and it's not gonna look like as much. Like, look how much spinach there is now, and it looked like we had put a lot in there. I'd fill this entire bowl. So the next step is we take this box of pasta. We're gonna pour it in to our pot. I should have actually used a bigger pot, but I know that this one will work too because I've accidentally used the smaller one before too. Okay, the pasta is in. I'm only going to stir it a little bit just to, just to get it down in there because there's a little pockets of spinach and tomatoes in the bottom. So just to make sure that I'm getting as much of it onto the ground as possible. Because the next thing we're going to do is we're going to open our chicken stock. And we are going to use this entire thing of chicken stock. Don't mind the pots and the pans in the background. It's just my adorable little thing. So, we're going to use this whole thing of chicken stock. You actually want it to cover the noodles. So, don't be alarmed if it looks like, way too much. It will not be. And yes, we are still doing this in the microwave. So again, I'm going to stir this all up to try to get all of the noodles underneath at least a little bit. I personally don't like to leave any noodles like super far up. I at least want them to be touching. So I'm going to stir this a little bit to help that. And then we're going to put the lid back on and put it back in the microwave for 15 minutes. Alright, so I put my boxes in my garbage bag. Easy cleanup. And you see I covered it as much as I could. I mean, almost every single one is submerged. So then we're going to put our lid back on. And our chicken is still cooking. You see it's starting to brown up. You can leave it in here. Actually, I'm going to turn the heat up just a little bit. You can leave it in here and not touch it at all, or you can turn it halfway, which I'm probably going to do right now. And then, so we're going to put this in there for 15 minutes. Alright, 15 minutes. There we go. Alright, so my chicken's looking pretty nice. We're just going to turn it and you see it's definitely cooked on that side. And again, I put butter in here beforehand. Normally I put extra virgin olive oil. I like the fruity flavor that it gives off. But butter is always good too. So, just flip them all over. Oh, and see, sometimes it rips apart because some pieces are thinner than the others. And there was actually a lot, these were sliced thinner than I thought they were going to be, which is even better. I mean, the thinner they are, the faster that your meat's going to cook, which is always great. And now, this was raw chicken on it, so I can't use this fork anymore to stir my, my bowl. We're actually, this right here, we're actually going to stop this halfway through and stir it, and then restart it again. And we just put the lid back on and continue to wait. We still have about 13 minutes for our meat, for our pasta. Okay, yeah, this is such an easy recipe. I mean, it's perfect for moms or anyone who's in a hurry. And I'm making enough that's gonna last it. Well, for me, because I love it, probably like 2 or 3 days, but for a family of 4, like at least 1 dinner meal and with leftovers. And so while the chicken is finishing cooking, again, it's on a low heat. I do it on a low heat because it gives me time to, not have to do anything. I cleaned up everything already. They're virtually, the only dish you're going to have to wash is the pan that you cook the chicken in, and the knife and the fork that you use. Nice, be nice. When you're cooking. And you don't need to even wash the pot right away, because the microwavable safe dish is the same pot you're going to store it in the fridge if you have leftovers. So there's a positive thing too. Just going to check on our meat. It's looking really, really good. It smells amazing. And it's bubbling a little bit. I did turn the heat down all the way because it is almost done. But we're just going to let it simmer for a little bit longer. We have about 9 minutes left on the pasta. Alright, my meat's done. Okay, so here is the finished product, almost the finished product. I turned off the heat on my meat, and I'm keeping it covered until this is ready. As you see, it overflowed. So I'm just going to wipe it up because we are going to put it back in there for just about 2 minutes. I'm going to add the cream cheese in here. If I had used the right size pot, I would add the chicken underneath everything. Right now I'm just going to stir it. Okay, baby. Right now I'm just going to stir it, add the cream cheese. And you don't have to necessarily stir this cream cheese in. You just leave it on top, put it in the microwave for about 2 minutes, and then you stir it up after and add the chicken in, and there you go. And I just have to say, I did forget to stir it. I got busy. It's what happens when you're a mom. But you notice the tomatoes that were whole, that I just put in there whole. They have blistered open. All the juices are out. They look like I cooked them in a pan and then put them in there. Everything's perfectly cooked. It is going to be so good. You want some? You hungry? She's saying yes. So now I'm just going to add the cream cheese in. You notice that it's nice and soft. If you forget to take it out, it's okay. It's still going to be the same 2 minutes. So we just plop that in there like that. Smush it down so it doesn't hit the top of the pan. And put it in the microwave for 2 minutes. Alright, I know it seems strange to add cream cheese to pasta, and actually if you do set it out beforehand and you want to eat right then and there, you just stir it well enough, it'll all melt together. I'm just putting it back in the microwave for, actually so melted, I'll only put it in there for about a minute. Normally I put it in there for 2 minutes if it's still cold and hard. And not so melty like this, but Parmesan cheese would be perfect, but we don't have any, so it's okay. But yeah, so we're gonna put it in there for 2 minutes, and then the chicken is it's still staying warm, and then we're gonna eat. Alright, and this is the final product. Oh, looks so good. And I'm just gonna add the chicken on there, and then eat. Here's my plate, a very good portion size, and I still have all of this left. There you go. That's it. Spinach, tomatoes, chicken. Easy.